With that, I will open up the floor to questions or comments about what I just read. Yes, sir.
The official date, January 1st.
No, the original date of the vacancy office was January 1st.
I was in office till 6.
Well, then the date was wrong on the date of the office, but
I mean, is it correct?
okay. As I'm reading this opinion, I don't have the office in front of me. I know that some are first, second, third. I understand that there are different dates of office, but maybe I'm just reading what I said, but that doesn't make any difference from that date. It would still be 30 days if you're going to quality for individuals. So, in his opinion. Any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to hear from Attorney Beck, the other side of the argument. There's two sides to this argument. And I believe that Mr. Beck, who successfully took this case to the Supreme Court, we should hear from his side.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. We can do that. Like I said, I'm just reading. I took it upon myself to read this letter. First, so now is Mr. Beck a member of this committee or not? They're not. Then he's not going to. A member of the only members of the committee are the only ones that can address this body. Now we're in session.
You wrote that letter, a member of the committee?
I read that letter. I read that letter. I'm chairing the committee, so I just read that. All right, we have a motion and a second. We're going to, I don't want to call a roll, we'll see if we can do it by show of hands. There's a motion to have this other attorney come forth and read what he states, and it was seconded. That's the motion. What's the person's name again, sir? I'm sorry? Beck. Ray Beck. Okay, so that the motion on the floor is whether Mr. Beck comes forth and gives his side of the his legal side opinion. So, is there any discussion on that? Yes.
This is a very important decision. Been to the Supreme Court. We want to go back to the Supreme Court. I think it's best for this body to get both sides. See the team of lawyers there. Mr. Beck did prevail in the House Supreme Court. I think it's important for us to listen to hear what he has to say so that we can make a very intelligent, fair decision when we vote.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion? Please go out there and speak if you can. You're a member of the committee. Feel free. If you guys don't mind, go over there.
Under discussion, this body has been sued, and we are here to meet with our legal counsel. When we have executive sessions in Jackson Township, City of Canton, or any other lawsuit, you don't invite the other side's attorney in to discuss why you've been sued or to present their case. We're here today being represented by a legal team of 4 attorneys that have given their time and worked very hard to represent all of you. For us to say we want to bring the other side in, I don't believe is appropriate.
Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, we're here to appoint a sheriff. We're not here to discuss a lawsuit. And we have to make a knowing, intelligent decision. I don't see why you would disagree with him while I'm speaking and hearing what the other side has to say.
Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, those lawyers that you have before you were wrong before. They were wrong. Right. And there's also some consideration. I know Mr. Price is one of your attorneys. I would like to know if there's financial interest between Mr. Price's firm and Mr. Schulman over potential employment at George Meyer's office. And I believe it's only fair that we hear both sides. That's what we're here to do. We're here to decide the qualifications. That's your motion for office. It can be debated both ways on the qualification age. Mr. Beck is a loyal Democrat. He's a Stark County resident. He represented a member of this body. He represented the sheriff who felt strongly enough about this to take it to the Supreme Court to follow the rule of law. He should be heard by this committee.
Any other discussion to the motion? Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem with, Mr. Beck is not a member of this committee. I don't have a problem with John or anybody else from this committee to speak. I have a problem when somebody that's not a member of this committee, who's not been asked by the committee to be the attorney for the committee, to come in and speak. I think if John Burrow wants to stand up and want to hear what he has to say, he's more than capable to tell that side of the story. I don't think you have to have somebody else that's not a member of this committee to come forward and speak.
There's a motion on the floor. Do I have a motion to close debate? Or continue? I'm making a motion. I'm asking, yes, ma'am, you're first. Right?
Yes. You just read a letter giving an opinion which is in direct contradiction to the Ohio Supreme Court. So I think it's only fair that we hear from legal counsel represented.
Ma'am, I'm saying, in my mind, that's not true. I mean, I work for the Democratic Party. It's not, and my attorney says that it's not contrary to the Supreme Court's decision, and the Supreme Court didn't answer that particular question. So that part of it was wrong. The body can decide they're going to hear this person or not, but there's no, like, as chair of chairing this meeting, I took the prerogative of reading what my attorney set forth an opinion that that he represents the Ohio Democratic Party. That was my prerogative as chairing this meeting to read that. So,
It's my opinion that your
there's going to be, of course, every attorney has their own opinion. So I'm just saying, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a motion to close the debate?
I did not interrupt you while you were speaking. I believe that the opinion that you wrote directly contradicts the Supreme Court's opinion, and I think it's only fair that we hear further discussion on the Supreme Court's opinion.
If the body votes that way, then we'll hear from that person. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Jackson.
If we're going to hear from Mr. Swanson and Mr. Darrow's attorney, then by all right, we should be hearing from Mr. Meyer's attorney as well, Mr. Rosen, so that we truly have both sides.
Well, when we get this thing, if there's a motion after the fact, we'll have that as well. So, if any other discussion on this motion, I'm going to call the question. Yes, sir.
Point of clarification is, Mr. Ferrari, you made the motion.
No, it did not. It was the gentleman back.
Could we just, the motion that you made is to have Mr. Beck address this group for what purpose?
To explain the other side of the issue here. We have an opinion by a non-member, read by a non-member of this commission.
Well, I'm trying to
I don't see the problem of hearing from the other side, the person who's successful in the Supreme Court, hearing his side.
And the point of clarification is this. As I heard the letter being read, the letter addressed the propriety of meeting as we are doing right now. It was not addressed to the merits.
Yes, it was. It defined the qualification date. That's the key.
Well, your point of clarification, please.
Yes, sir.
It's our understanding that there was a motion to enjoin this meeting addressed to the Ohio Supreme Court. Yesterday, the Chief Justice ruled that that injunction request would be denied and that this meeting was a proper forum to select the next sheriff in accordance in our judgment with the Supreme Court's original decision. So my point of clarification is not to argue the merits of Mr. Beck addressing the group. The point of clarification is, what is it that Mr. Beck is going to say contrary to the counsel for the Democratic Party and the Chief Justice's decision yesterday to deny the injunction, that is, to deny the adjoining of this meeting? Could you clarify that for me?
Yes, he is going to define the qualification date as February 6th, 2013.
What difference does that make? Point of clarification. What difference would that make in regard to this body's determination?
Because if Mr. Meyer was not qualified on February 6th, 2013, then he's not qualified for the purpose of this vote. I think that's a crucial issue here today.
Yes, ma'am.
May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
He read a prepared statement, then somebody in this committee should have read a prepared statement from Attorney Beck, so it's something that where he's not open-ended questions and is going to keep talking. Something that was clear and concise that you or somebody else should have read for him.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
You raised the issue of the date of qualification. There should be the other side, if that is in evidence, the other side should have a time to rebut that.
This is not a court of law, sir. This is a meeting of the Democratic Party.
understand that. But you go by the same rules of fairness.
I'm assuming that there are several attorneys here that are on this committee that, if they want to speak on this matter, can feel free to do so. But there is a motion before the body, and it has a second. Yes, ma'am.
Great. I have a clarification of the motion. The letter that you read, that I understood as a committee person, was that they were asking a specific question of the lawyer for the Ohio Democratic Party. And that specific question was whether or not our date is back to the original qualification date or is moved to the present after the Supreme Court to give us a different qualification date. Well, that was my understanding. Didn't talk about qualifications or any of that.
Correct.
So I'm asking for clarification on the motion, because if they're addressing your letter, what I heard you read, then I think if he's allowed to speak, it should be solely to that issue as to whether or not the proper date which somebody would have to qualify, whoever it may be, is either now or whether it was back in the prior time of February, which your lawyer addressed, and that, I guess, the Ohio Democratic Party's lawyer addressed. I think it should be limited and not go about discussing all the, whatever the qualifications may be under that statute that we all received and could read.
That is correct.
I will still amend my motion.
Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. The motion's been amended, so that is the question. Everybody understand the question? Is Mr. Beck going to be allowed to address this committee to speak on the date of qualification of the person who can be held the office of sheriff? Carol? No, that does not. It does not. Any other questions? There's a motion. I don't have. We're gonna have people stand up. I think the easiest way to do that is, or we're gonna call the roll again if we can't make a determination. So, all in favor of the motion, please stand up.
What's the motion?
Can I have some Board of Elections people, please? Please stay standing until I tell the Jeanette, is it going to be easier to just call the roll anyway?
We got 72
72.
out of 164.
72. Well, they don't have to vote, so that doesn't mean, so 72. All right. Those opposed to the motion, please stand.
city come back, city ballots. No, John Farrell has city ballots to call the city.
Gloria, did you get a ballot for it? You have to have a ballot.
I have to have a ballot? Okay. We have to, we take this vote though.
Jeanette?
Yes, but it's for part of mine, elections.
Okay.